Hey, what's up, guys? Well, it appears that it is shorty season indeed. There's a couple of bumblebees and a classic in my shop right now. A couple of things about the shorties. The muzzle on a blackbird is longer than it is on a classic or bumblebee. I think I went over this recently, but not 100% sure. Anyway, they are interchangeable. This one's just longer on a blackbird to hold the fake suppressor on there with the gives it something for the set screw to push against. I have seen these for sale on eBay on Sapper Customs site, and they're referred to as trunks. So if you see this little cylindrical piece of metal on eBay and they're calling it a trunk, that is how you can get a small one if you don't like the goofy long one and want to do a shorty. I've got something else I want to show you. The guy who ended up buying the shorty, I think it was in the last video, is a former customer of mine, and he delivers new vehicles, so he'll like drive a vehicle somewhere to the customer, and so that puts him going through my area a good bit, which is great because he can just drop in, and if he's buying something or picking something up, we can actually go through it here in the shop, and he's on his way. Anyway, he has found something, a couple of things really cool. Some of you guys know that up until now, it's basically been unacceptable to leave these hopper magazines pressurized. And the reason for it is, let's say you're running 1600 psi. These aren't really designed to handle more than maybe 900 psi on them constantly, and that's still not very good for them. In particular, this valve seal. Your valve rides in an O-ring type seal. It's a urethane O-ring seal that goes right in here. It has a washer backing it and a spring that pushes on the washer to press that seal up against the inside of the valve body. When you pressurize this, it puts pressure on that washer and really forces that seal forward. And over time, it will squish that seal. And because that seal wraps around the valve body, it can affect the way it slides in and out of that seal. And also pressurizing things, leaving them pressurized, what it tends to do with other seals is push them into places that the seal's not supposed to go. Sometimes if it's on something threaded like this, it'll be really hard to get off. It might still be sealed, but it'll be really hard to get off, and then later the seal will fail. So one of the big issues is that you can't store one of these things at the ready. So you can't connect a bottle directly to it and charge it up, put it in your closet, and expect it to have anything in it when you go back to it a month, a week, or so later. So for years, we've been trying to find a solution for this. And the solution, we knew what it was. We just couldn't find anything that was good enough for the application. And the solution is to have a shutoff valve right here between your gas supply and your magazine. The biggest problem with putting a valve right here is that valves that are designed around this pressure that will fit aren't really rated for high enough pressures. And they tend to be more restrictive than is conducive for extreme fire rates. In other words, they'll get choked down. They'll still work, they just won't be shooting the BBs as fast as they can, because you can't get air through that restricted area fast enough. So he did some homework and he found this type of shutoff valve and another type of shutoff valve. This is a quarter turn valve. Before this, I was looking at McMaster Carr at stainless steel quarter turn valves that, can handle something like 6,000, 10,000 psi. And those things are very expensive. And by the time you got it adapted to this and to a Foster fitting, you would have a big chunk of metal there that would be quite heavy, and probably even a handle that might stick out like that far. I guess you could cut that down, but you don't really want to have a handle sticking out 90 degrees from this thing. So he found these. These are for paintball, and they serve the same purpose for paintball as they do for us. Now, I've tried this with this hopper magazine, and it works great. The only thing about it is it may be restrictive. I can't tell because of what I'm restricted to. I'm restricted to shooting 10 feet into a moving blanket indoors. For quite some time, I was pushing micro bore hoses without knowing that they were restricting. And it wasn't until Bruce told me about this, and it was several months that I was running them that way. And so he discovered the issue. So we went back to coil hoses. And so this functions, but does it give us good flow? I'd like to hear what you guys think about it. I will leave a link in the description where you can get it. And there's also another one that I'm waiting on. Now, the customer has the other one. It is a slide check style. So it's like a big slide check valve one here. And looking at it just from the pictures on the advertisement, it looks to be a better solution than this one. Although I do really like this quarter turn valve. I looked at the holes, and you can see one of the holes, and for the slide that goes over and connects the air path, and it looks the same size, if not bigger, than a hole on a Ninja slide check. And we know that we can get air fast enough through a Ninja slide check. So I don't think that there's going to be any flow issues with that. In addition to that, there's no way to bleed this once you shut this off without firing it or pressing this valve somehow to get the gas out of it. Now, with a slide check, all you would need to do is slide the collar back, and then this is depressurized. So I have one of those coming, and I will also leave a link to that in case you want to try it. But yeah, this is really exciting stuff, and this is kind of the last piece of the puzzle for Superbirds in general, because this is just one of the things that would make it so convenient that you could, store it safely, away from kids and all that, maybe even in a gun safe, but pretty much ready to go. All right, guys, later.